Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Practical English Podcast. I'm your host, Mike.
And I'm Angela. We are so glad you could join us today.
Today, we're going to tackle one of the most common points of confusion for English learners. It's a question we get all the time, and it's all about verbs that follow other verbs.
That's right, Mike. We're talking about gerunds versus infinitives. You've probably wondered about this. For example, should you say, I like swimming or I like to swim?
Exactly. Or why do we say, I enjoy reading, but then we say, I want to travel? It seems a bit random, doesn't it?
It can definitely feel that way, but there are rules. And in this episode, we're going to break it all down in a simple and practical way. Our goal is to help you use these structures confidently in your everyday conversations.
This episode is perfect for anyone at the A2 to B1 level who wants to understand verb patterns, avoid those common grammar mistakes, and just generally speak more naturally.
So get ready for clear rules, simple explanations, and lots of real-world examples. Let's get started.
All right, Angela, let's start with the absolute basics. We have two key terms for today, gerund and infinitive. Can you kick us off by explaining what a gerund is?
Of course. A gerund is actually very simple to spot. You just take a verb and add ing to the end. The important thing to remember is that this word now acts like a noun in the sentence.
Right, so it looks like a continuous verb, but it's not. It's a thing, an activity. It's a noun.
Exactly. Let's take an example. Swimming is fun. Here, the word swimming is the subject of the sentence. It's the thing that is fun. Just like you could say pizza is fun or movies are fun.
That's a great way to think about it. If you can replace the ing word with another noun like pizza, it's probably a gerund. How about another example where it's not the subject?
Sure. Let's use the sentence, I like reading. In this case, I is the subject, like is the verb, and what do I like? I like reading. So reading is the object of the verb. It's the thing that I like.
Okay, that makes sense. Same with a sentence like, she enjoys cooking. She is the subject, enjoys is the verb, and cooking is the object. It's the activity she enjoys.
Perfect. So to recap, a gerund is a verb plus ing, and it functions as a noun in the sentence, either as the subject or the object.
All right, so that's the gerund. Now, let's talk about its partner in crime, the infinitive. What is an infinitive?
The infinitive is the base form of a verb. In the context we're discussing today, we're usually talking about the to infinitive, which is simply to plus the verb, like to run, to eat, to study.
To plus the verb. Got it. So let's look at some examples. How about I want to travel?
That's a perfect one. The main verb is want, and what is the thing you want? You want the action to travel. The infinitive to travel follows the main verb.
Or she needs to study. The main verb is needs, and the action she needs to perform is to study.
Exactly. One more. We decided to leave. The decision is the main verb, and to leave is the action that was decided.
So it seems like the infinitive often expresses a goal, a purpose, or an intention after that first verb.
That's a very good observation, Mike. It often points forward to a future action or state. You want to do something, you plan to do something, you hope to do something.
Okay, so we now understand what a gerund is and what an infinitive is. But that brings us to the million-dollar question. How do we know which one to use?
This is the heart of the lesson. The basic rule is actually quite simple, but it does require some memorization. The main verb in your sentence, the first verb, determines what comes after it.
So it's not a free choice. Some verbs demand a gerund and other verbs demand an infinitive.
Precisely. Think of it like a train. The first verb is the engine, and it can only pull one type of carriage, either a gerund carriage or an infinitive carriage. So let's start with the verbs that pull the gerund carriage, the ones that are followed by verb ing.
All right, let's have them. What are some common verbs that are always followed by a gerund?
A big group is verbs related to liking or disliking. For example, the verb enjoy. You always say, I enjoy reading, or she enjoys walking on the beach. You never say, I enjoy to read.
Right, that sounds very unnatural to a native speaker. Enjoy to read. Nope. Okay, so enjoy always takes ing. What else?
How about the verb finish? You finish doing something. For example, I have to finish writing this report. Or have you finished cleaning your room?
Okay, so finish plus gerund. Another good one is avoid. They avoid talking about politics at dinner. You can't say they avoid to talk.
Exactly. Let's add a few more to our list for our listeners. Other common verbs that take the gerund include suggests, as in, he suggested going for a walk. There's also mind, like in the question, do you mind opening the window?
And keep, like he keeps forgetting my name. Or practice. You need to practice speaking every day.
That's a great list. So to recap some common verbs followed by the gerund, enjoy, finish, avoid, suggest, mind, keep, and practice. And of course, there are more, but these are a fantastic starting point.
Okay, so we have our list of gerund-loving verbs. Now let's look at the other side. Which verbs pull the infinitive carriage? The ones followed by to plus the verb.
As we hinted at earlier, a big category here is verbs related to plans, decisions, and desires for the future. The verb want is probably the most common one. I want to learn Spanish. They want to buy a new car.
Right. Want learning is completely wrong. Okay, so want takes the infinitive. What about need?
Yes, need is another one. You need to finish your homework. I need to go to the supermarket. It expresses a necessity or obligation.
That makes sense. Then there are verbs about decisions, like decide and plan. We said we decided to leave earlier. You could also say we are planning to renovate the kitchen.
Exactly. The plan comes first, the renovation comes later. The infinitive points to that future action. Let's add some more to our list. Hope, as in I hope to see you soon. Also try, like I'm trying to solve this puzzle.
And verbs of arrangement, like agree or promise. She agreed to help me, or he promised to call me later.
Those are great examples. And let's not forget learn. I'm learning to play the guitar. The process is learning. The goal is to play.
Perfect. So our infinitive list includes want, need, decide, plan, hope, try, agree, promise, and learn. Again, there are more, but this is a solid foundation.
Okay, Mike, we've covered verbs that take gerunds and verbs that take infinitives, but now we have to address the tricky part. What about the verbs that can take both?
Yes, the rule breakers. This is actually good news for learners in a way. It means you have a choice and you're less likely to make a mistake. So let's go back to the original question of the episode. I like swimming or I like to swim.
And the answer is, drum roll please, both are correct.
That's right. Verbs like, love, hate, and prefer can be followed by either a gerund or an infinitive, and the meaning is very, very similar.
So you can say, I love eating pizza, or I love to eat pizza. You can say, I hate doing laundry, or I hate to do laundry. Both work.
Now, for the advanced learners out there, sometimes there's a very, very small difference in meaning. Using the gerund, like I like swimming, can suggest a general enjoyment of the activity itself. Using the infinitive, I like to swim, might refer more to a specific habit or preference, like I like to swim on Saturday mornings.
That's a good point, but for our A2B1 learners, our advice is don't worry about that small difference. The most important thing is to know that with like, love, hate, and prefer, both options are safe. You won't sound unnatural whichever one you choose.
Great advice. Simplicity first. Other verbs in this both category include start, begin, and continue. It started raining or it started to rain. The meaning is identical.
Right. He continued talking or he continued to talk. Same thing. So that's a nice flexible group of verbs to know.
But, Angela, now that we've made our listeners comfortable with these lists, it's time to throw a little curveball, isn't it? There's a special category of verbs that can take both a gerund and an infinitive. But unlike like or start, the meaning completely changes depending on which one you use.
Yes, this is where things get really interesting. This is a more advanced topic, so for our A2 listeners, don't feel pressure to master this immediately. But for our B1 listeners pushing towards B2, this is a crucial step. Let's dive into some of the most common ones. Stop, remember, and try.
Excellent. Let's start with stop. This is a classic example. How does the meaning change for stop?
Okay, so listen closely. If you stop doing something, it means you quit that action permanently or for a long time. For example, he stopped smoking last year. This means he is no longer a smoker. Okay, so listen closely. If you stop doing something, it means you quit that action permanently or for a long time. For example, he stopped smoking last year. This means he is no longer a smoker.
Ah, I see. So in this case, he didn't quit smoking. He stopped his car in order to have a cigarette. The two sentences have almost opposite meanings.
Precisely. Let's do another one. She stopped drinking coffee. What does that mean?